My name is Eric Van Horn. I bought my first franchise in my 20s, and since then, I've owned 6 brands with 25 stores in 8 states. I've also helped 1,000 people find the right franchise for them. People like us who are not cut out for the 9 to 5 and like to work smarter, not harder. How do we find the right franchise, buy it, grow it, sell it, and how do we do it in a way to own the business without it owning us? Those are the questions, and I'm on a mission to give you the answers. Welcome to Franchise Secrets. Welcome to the Franchise Secrets podcast with your host, Eric Van Horn. And today's guest is Michael Bernoff. He's a buddy of mine, fantastic guy, man of many talents. But we're going to get into sales, marketing, both, as a franchisee, franchisor, and then we're going to get into some personal stuff as well in terms of influence and persuasion. So, Michael, I did not do your intro justice, but welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's justice enough. It's going to be one of those David Copperfield style ones. We don't know what he does, but we're going to figure it out later. Do a little magic.
Why don't you tell us what you do?
Wow, that's always the big thing. I feel like franchisees and franchisors typically probably run into that problem too, not really understanding 100% what they do, whether it's the gym business or smoothies they sell or tires they're selling. I'm in the communication world. I'm one of the biggest advocates of, playing the game above average in life, that average sucks. My background is communication. So our whole company culture is based on that. We believe that communication is the most underutilized and underdeveloped asset that we have as human beings. So think of us as a organization, a company that teaches human beings how to communicate in a way to get what they want, whether it's sales, influence with their children, negotiation. I had a gentleman earlier, I got his permission before you jumped on, that is dealing with something not so great with an ex financially. And he goes, how do you respond to this text? I said what to say, and bing, bam, boom, it pushed along a little bit better. So I'll tell you that communication is something that most people don't recognize as the answer to most things in life. And it's been our study for almost 20 years. The whole institute we have, the Human Communications Institute, has been designed to further along people's ability to communicate and influence in their life.
You've helped so many people out. You've helped me. I mean, I've spent time at your office there in Arizona. Yep. And I know that you've helped franchisors out. Like you've gone to franchisors and you've helped them help their team. Give us some insight. Like, what have you done for some franchisors?
A lot of times, the whole point of a franchise is to make something simple. Like, we'll go back to, I listen to the E-Myth all the time. So I'm kind of in your indoctrination sequence. That is like the precursor. If you don't like that, then don't even go, don't go into the franchise world. But I still listen to that all the time. And I believe that a franchisor is very good getting down to, like, we're very clear what we do. A lot of times, what we're not clear is explaining to the franchisee a way to sell and market what they do in a very simple 1, 2, 3 punch. We even run into it in our company. You see someone do something and it's like, wow, that's amazing. How do we do that? So what we do typically is we bring processes to corporations, to franchisors and franchisees. I mean, if I get the call from the person that had the courage to spend hundreds of thousands, $50,000 to buy into the idea, take their 401k, their, transfer their money, to do that, we'll work with anybody who wants to better their life. But for the franchisor standpoint, one of the biggest wins is to make a process that you can hand down to take somebody who may have never done sales before in their life, because this is a human being, and this is the hard part for people to understand, that was a teacher, was an educator, was a golf instructor, worked at Motorola, saved enough money to buy into this thing in their 40s. Am I summing this up correctly?
100%.
And they and their wife, like, I have somebody that we work with that, forgive me, my daughter's school, and they wound up at a trade show. There was a lead generated. They wound up being one of those. They went and looked at 3 or 4 different events, and they're so pumped about their franchise. But when I was sitting with them over bingo night, giving them 3 or 4 ideas of things they could sell better, they're like, we're going to apply that. So I love working with the franchisor to help the franchisee. But man, a franchisee that's hungry, that wants to learn how to sell better, that understands affecting their bottom line, I love doing that. Something within the process of the franchise.
In my about 20 years of helping people buy franchises, being a franchisee myself, one of the biggest weaknesses in franchising that I see are franchisors that don't have a good sales process that they've passed on to the franchisee so the franchisee can effectively sell and get customers. So give me some examples of, like, what are some quick wins that you can give somebody that is maybe it's in the health and fitness industry, or you pick the industry.
Let's do it. So I'm a very experiential person. So what I'd like to do is let's take me to a franchise, walk me through a situation. Let's build it out. Let's take some franchise that somebody watching this would own or a type. Let's take them to a gym. Let's take them to, you name it. Like, let's build a franchise, build a scenario, and I'll give you a solution right now.
All right. So we've got, personally, I own some yoga studios in Denver and some different states, and it's a franchise. So we need customers. Our franchisor doesn't have a clearly defined sales process for us.
Yoga attracts, especially people that are going to be in the studio, very sweet people that love people. Sales is a very nice process, but it's a very different process. So a lot of times they'll let a manager that's running the place, let someone come for 3 weeks for free and forget to bill them because they're uncomfortable with it. So we've got to make it very systematic to do. So let's talk about the different areas of the process. There is somebody standing outside. There's somebody that, if Groupon is your process, they've come in a Groupon, they come in on a $19 trial. Like, where's this person along in the process? Because just the word sales is like saying franchise. It is overwhelming. There's different forms of franchises. There's do I want to be the owner? Do I want to be owner operator? Do I just want to be an investor? Those are 3 different things. So walk me into like, where are we? Is there someone hanging out in the street outside and we want to bring them in?
Let's talk about pre-sales, because I think a lot of people pre-sale.
You mean this thing?
Yes, that thing. This thing. I see a cord attached to that thing. What is that?
This is a phone.
A phone, and somebody on the other end that saw an ad online. Maybe they got a mailer, but they may have a sign up in the location of where the location actually is, but it's not open. There's no heat. There's no air. There's no equipment in there. It is just a dark shell with a sign out, and it's under construction coming soon. And the franchisee, me, is wanting to drive a lot of customers in there before I open, so it's better on my budget.
Got it. So are we collecting a credit card in advance? Are we going to start billing when we open? What are we doing?
We will, there's a number of different ways to do it, but let's just say we are collecting a credit card in advance.
And are we billing them up front?
Yes.
Okay. So
their first month.
And when are we opening?
In 2 months.
Very good. Okay. So what we want to do in that scenario is a couple of things you have to do is you're dealing with the unknown to people, and people are very uncomfortable when dealing with the unknown. So they call on the phone and they're saying, hi, I'm calling off your flyer. I see that you're opening soon in the area. Like, I, the other day, drove by a sandwich shop with my daughter, and I was frustrated because, grand opening in 4 days. And I pulled up, it's where she wanted to go. And we pulled up and we're like, this sucks. Do you know what I'm saying? So you've got to very quickly understand that you can use that to your advantage. So the fact that you're not open offers the ability to have an advantage. So a few things you can do is play to people's fact that they called. So committed few is a very powerful word to use. We are honoring a committed. Now think about yoga for a second. Honor is a part of yoga. Honor is a part of martial arts. So we're using terminology that they already understand. So we want to honor the committed few that are willing to get involved as we get started. Yoga is a lot about vision and visualization. So what we want to do is take a few minutes and share with you the vision of what we're going to be doing with our studio and what a day is going to be like, or what a week is going to be like. Now, are you looking to be someone now people that call in first have an opportunity to get first come, first serve of our operating software. So what is that software that you guys all use? That one that where you book an appointment? What's that thing called? Everyone, it's out of the box.
What's it called? Club Ready.
What's that?
We use one called Club Ready, Mind Body. There's a number of them.
So we have a process called Club Ready, and we're going to send that out to you first. So part of our committed few, the ones that get started up front, we're going to email that to you first. So you're going to have an opportunity in the first couple of weeks as we get started to pick your classes first and to be able to get comfortable with the studio. We're also going to be telling you that as we get started, we're going to be doing what would we have? A couple introductory classes. Can we give them a couple wins up front? Because we want to recognize that they're not getting anything for 2 months. So we need to give them something in advance. So I would develop something that we could do that we could send them or give them in advance. That's one of the ways that I do it. I also would say, we have a process for the committed few. Our membership is $79 a month. If you do $79 down now, we're going to allow you to do blank. Now, what could we give them for getting started? Because all the owner needs, all the franchisee needs is If you can get 50 of these to start with, you've got a foundation, financial foundation. You've got a salary paid. You've got able to wipe the floors if it's hot yoga, to cleaning the mats. So when the phone rings, I would basically say, congratulations, super excited that you called and that you saw the vision of what we're doing. How familiar are you with yoga? Yoga is a lot about belief. Yoga is a lot about trust. Yoga is a lot about trusting yourself. So we're excited about the committed few that have called in early that really want to pre-plan and have intentions towards where we're headed with our studio and where we're headed long term. So have you done yoga before? I'd ask you, have you done yoga before?
No, I haven't. This is going to be my first time. I've been, nervous about doing it before because I'm probably not going to be able to do all those poses.
So, okay. And we want to tell you that if you are able to do those poses, we do have separate classes for that. So we will tell you that the majority of the people that get started cannot do poses. And most people don't even have these conversations. So could I give you a little advice on how to really be best when you get here?
Yeah, absolutely.
Here's the secret to yoga. Don't try to do yoga, because anytime you're trying to do yoga, you fail at yoga. If you look up what yoga is, and I'll send you a couple articles about what yoga really is about, it's really about just understanding yourself, and the health benefits are just a secondary benefit of what you get out of yoga. But here is the coolest part. We're having a special right now for people that committed few, and I can come up with a million different names. It doesn't matter what it is, but we're using that one right now, that are willing to get started in advance. What this comes with is VIP access to our scheduling, which for any convenient person, do you have a lot of stuff going on in your life?
Yes.
First off, everybody does. So you want to say that. Do you have a lot of stuff going on in your life?
Yes.
If we could send you the schedule in advance, a few weeks before everybody gets it, would that help pick a class that's convenient for you?
That'd be great.
That's part of our introductory program. Now is that hard to offer people? Is that complicated?
No.
Okay. You might not even have instructors yet, but you probably can do that.
Yep.
Number two is, can we have them come down and see the shell?
Yes.
Is that worth doing? Because I would
100%.
love to show them where it's going to be in Dream Build.
Yeah, because we can have a tent out in front and have different things, give them something, but be there to show them and to paint the picture of what it's going to be like.
Yeah, basically, bottom line is all sales is taking them from event to event. So we want to get them from the phone to either a next conversation, or from the phone to a tent to a studio and get them in the door. It isn't really about sales as much as it's really, you want to pre-sell them. That's how I would do that. So any thoughts on that?
You've used some, intentional words. I think what's natural to you is, you've been doing it for years and years, but give us some insight into why you use some of the words, why you wanted me to have some of the responses that I actually had.
Yeah, I want to not sell you a membership. Nobody wants to buy that. First off, nobody wants a membership. We shouldn't even use a membership. We'd rather talk about commitments and different things like that, because the word membership, it's like, I don't know. You have to build up a different thing. So what I love, the committed few is powerful because it creates scarcity, and it's a very powerful word. The reason I throw things out for you when I ask you, do you have a pretty busy schedule, is I'm about to offer you convenience. So I'm setting you up for what's going on. So do you have a pretty busy schedule? And they're going to say yes. Great. Then we have a very convenient mechanism. So are you into convenience? Yes. Then we have a convenient mechanism. We want to go one and then two. You want to open them up. So like in martial arts, you want to open them up so there's a chance to get a jaw punch in. That's how that whole process works. So everything comes down to language. I also know, if you're selling a franchise to somebody, or you're a franchisor and you're marketing to them, anytime anybody calls on the phone, one of the greatest things you can say is perfect timing that you called today. It's so fascinating when you say that. Most people don't get a win in their day, but it's perfect timing that you called today. And they say, oh, really? Why is that? We've been going over stuff with the company, and I got some stuff fresh in my mind that I'm excited to share with you. So letting people know that it's thing perfect, nobody does that. And as long as if you really have something great to share with them, it's super powerful. So did you want to walk through another scenario? Because I'd love to keep rolling with this.
Let's walk through a weight loss, because I'm in the weight loss business, and that's a challenging business because people, it's a big commitment. It's easy to inquire. It's not easy to follow through.
Okay. So do we want them to follow through, or do we want them to buy into this? Two different things.
We want them to buy into the program and to continue to stay on the program, which is, basically bars and shakes.
Yeah.
Restricted calories and getting some exercise.
Got it.
That's weight loss.
Yeah. So what does a typical pitch sound like that somebody says? And then I have one in my head. I've been marketing that for years. So I would just love to know what people are saying.
The basic pitch is, this is more of a medically inspired weight loss program. We have a team of doctors that have come up with this, and if you stick to it, you're actually going to get results. I mean, it's just a results driven. Like if you stick to it, you're going to get results. That's the main pitch.
Okay. So are we having trouble getting them to buy initially or stick with it?
Both.
Which do you want to start with? Because they're two different animals.
Buy into it.
Okay.
And that's the emotional piece, right? Is that?
Yeah, to get them to make a decision. So the biggest challenge with weight loss is, and you want to write that one down, no matter what it is, the biggest challenge with weight loss, the biggest challenge with drinking water, the biggest challenge being a parent. You want to say that because then people really open up their ears to listen to what's going to happen. So I would say the biggest challenge we have found with people successfully losing weight is.
So you use biggest challenge and successfully in the same sentence. Like explain that to me. I'm sure that was intentional.
Yeah, there's a reason. So the biggest I would say the biggest challenge, the biggest reason that people don't lose weight, or the biggest challenge people don't lose weight, and why they have challenges being successful with it, is because of blank. So we're building like the two models. We're building the problem and the solution. Mm-hmm. So we basically want to say the biggest challenge parenting today is, and as soon as you say that, it's almost you're building a storyline out for somebody. So you're basically building credibility that you know what you're doing. And you say, the biggest challenge people have losing weight today that we have found is it comes down to communication. It actually comes down to relationship. And the majority of people have a very, very intimate relationship with food, and they have an intimate relationship with the people in their lives. So what happens is we are going to tell you to eat certain things and do certain things, and instantly it impacts certain relationships you have, relationships with people around the dinner table, and also the way you've been doing things for a long time. So our cutting edge system that we have is designed to help you work along with that. The reason why we say it takes 90 days is you are going to be on a version of a roller coaster. At first, there's going to be ups and downs, but we're going to work really hard to make the ups not go so high and the downs not go so low. So we're going to be working on adjustment and changing your relationship with food and your relationship with health over the next 90 days. And that's why we're committed to at least 90 days to get started. And that's where most people go wrong.
So that is the problem. The secret to our system is coaches. I mean, they have weekly coaching that they get as part of this. Yeah.
But most people don't have people to hold them accountable, right?
And the coaches in this scenario, in this franchise, have a hard time. A typical weight loss coach is not a salesperson. They don't want to see themselves as a salesperson. So there's always pushback like, Eric, I don't want them to buy the food because I just want them to lose weight. Well, they need to buy the food to pay for the salary and to help them stay in the program to lose weight. So how would you adjust the salesperson's mind in that, or the coaches?
If I were to work with the coaches, I would basically say we're doing a disservice to these people. We're not helping them go all in because they're going to spend that money on something else. Your competition, this is the part people don't recognize, is not a competitor. Your competition is Vegas, is internet impulse buying, is Starbucks is more of a competition with you than anything else because the average person spends $5,000 a year at Starbucks. It's crazy. If you did the math, I mean, it's like what do they do? Well, maybe I'm incorrect about that. It's probably close to $1,500 to $2,000 a year the average person spends at Starbucks, which is insane.
Jeez.
That's a big percentage of people's lives. So what I would say is by getting them involved with the food, we give them half a chance. It's the reason the food is so important is not the food. It's your commitment to this. And most people, their ability to commit has not been a muscle that they'd stretch. So part of our company philosophy is enhancing your ability to commit and follow through. So as your coach, I want to help you commit and follow through. So part of that is you've got to commit to at least 90 days, and we've got to start the food for 30. We can adjust after 30, but we need to commit to at least 30. And I want you to think of me as, I want you to realize that you're not going to do this perfectly. At first, you're going to be gung-ho. You're going to eat this food perfectly for 3 days straight. You are going to throw some of it away. You are. And that is life. It's going to be in containers. You're going to throw it away. And you got to be okay with that. Knowing that you are going to have the occasional lunch meeting that's going to get called out of the blue. You got to be okay with that. So part of that is we will adjust after 30 days, But most importantly is once you commit to that food, this is one of my favorite lines at all. The biggest breakthrough that you get health-wise is not doing the program. The greatest breakthrough you get is committing to the program to start with. That's the hardest part. The hardest part for people is making that first initial decision. Once you make that, we just got to make it again next month and the month after. It's that very subtle decision that breaks through where it is that you're at. So we're moving where the importance is to something else. So if I would say to people, like, would you like your first breakthrough in health? Of course. Well, then we got to get you enrolled, because your first breakthrough is you believing that you matter. Most weight is associated to us not really taking care of ourselves. You doing this for you will give you half a chance. You hear my tone? Very loving, very caring. And I mean that. I really mean that. I know, like when I signed up for a Spartan race in Joe DeSena's book, he says, like, your first breakthrough. Have you done a Spartan race? Have you done a Tough Mudder Spartan race?
Okay. A lot of friends have. I know.
Yeah, I'll get you out to do one. What's interesting is the first breakthrough you get is literally clicking the link. Man, I never ran 15 miles, 30 obstacles, but once I paid $150 and clicked that link and signed up for that thing, I'm researching vitamins, I'm researching shoes, I'm figuring out what dry fit really means. I'm learning all this stuff. So that's the part that we need to reallocate where the emotion is. It's in the sign up, the real win, and then congratulate them. Like, do you know what I teach in the martial arts world? Because I do a lot of training there. Is like when you give the gloves to somebody. You ever done martial arts?
I'm starting to do Brazilian jiu-jitsu.
Okay. Do you got like belts and gloves and shit?
Just starting to get it. Yep.
Okay. So whenever someone gives a belt to somebody, it could be like, here's your belt, buddy, versus honoring them. So looking them in the eyes and saying, I just want to commend you for doing something most people never do. The average person doesn't respect, think of the word, respect their health. The fact that you're here shows me you respect your health. That man or woman cannot walk out of the room now. They'll be just.
And it's really the best thing for them. I mean,
it's the truth.
But that's the difference between like hard selling someone and then what would you call it? Like what you just did if you were to help that person.
We don't sell, we influence. We influence people to make a decision that they wanted to make in the first place. Your kids, do you send them to school with lunch?
Yes.
You pack their lunch?
Yes.
Why do you pack their lunch?
Because it's easier for me to do than have them do it. And I know what's going in there.
Okay, very good. You know what's going in there. So what's recommended at school? Like there is lunch at school.
What do you mean? I want them to have the organic stuff, the grass-fed stuff, that type of thing.
You do that for them, but you've got to learn how to do that for you. See what I'm doing? That's part of the sales pitch. So I said that to you. I know your story. I know how healthy you are. But with most people, they have kids. Do you pack your kids' lunch? I want to pack your lunch for you. Wouldn't it be nice if you were back in school and you didn't have to think about what to eat? I want to pack your lunch. We'll make sure not to have a smelly tuna fish sandwich, but I'm going to pack your lunch. Make a joke, right? So think of that angle real quick. That's something people understand. They're kids, right? Do you pack your children's lunch? If they don't and let their kids eat at school, that person's not buying from you long term. You do not.
That's a good point. Let's talk about that because I identify people that are ready to buy and not ready to buy. Like how is that in the process? Like what's your mindset going into that to identify some of those things?
I'm going to answer that question in 2 seconds. It's reminded me. So my wife gives letters every day to my daughter on school, like reminding her of stuff. I believe that the coaches need to weekly commend them for doing what they're doing and reach out to them and give them a note, send them a love letter, tell them how much they care if they want to keep them on the program. That's just a side note that I highly recommend, especially when it comes to something so challenging for people. So back to the question.
Hey, you had. Real quick with that, like, is that random stuff? I mean, let's talk about like a random video. We have a friend, John Ruhlin, right? And with giftology and I mean,
talking to him yesterday. That's crazy.
A great guy. And he's like, don't give gifts at Christmas time. There's other times to give gifts to people, right?
Did he stop you too? Because I have 30 gifts downstairs about to get shipped. I was giving him a tour of the building. He goes, don't send those now.
I caught him before I had gifts this year. So if you're listening to this, you normally get gifts from me, not this year. But it's or seemingly random reach out to somebody, a video, a note, or something like that. And that's significant, right?
Yeah. I like random, like what I do with the, I got a really cool line I'm going to give you in a minute, but in the martial arts space, because I work with a lot of martial arts gyms for young kids, like franchises there, one of the things that I've recognized is they'll leave a random message for the kid on the home voicemail to give to the parent, like just random. You can always use the number 13 as a great one. So I always said if like you sent your wife flowers every 13 days, I mean, I don't do it, but if I should, but every 13 days, my wife says, don't give me flowers, I want clothes, right? But shoes. But if you send every 13 days, it'll show up sometimes Tuesday, sometimes Wednesday. So it's a really cool rule for twice a month is 13. Every 13 days is basically within a 26-day period, you're going to hit 2 times and it's going to become random as hell. It's going to be totally 13. You'll see what I mean if you look at it on the calendar. It's an interesting number. But yeah, I'd like to do that stuff randomly, gifts and different things, because you've got to keep people engaged in what's going on, care about them enough to do something. Like I used to I've taught this technique for years. Like, imagine you've got a book. Like, are there books that some of these weight loss groups have? Like,
absolutely, yeah.
Okay, so let's just say this is the book, right? What I like to do, this is a Michael Bernoff secret, is I write something in the inside cover. This is how you keep someone for at least 90 days. You write, Eric, I'm super excited of being on this journey with you and getting you the body and health you've always desired. And then you got to use this word, love Michael. Nobody tells anyone they love them. Then right around here, on page 20, you write in the binding, call me when you get here. Most people never make it this far. I've got something special for you. And that's a $50 off coupon or something you're going to give them, or a free strategy session, a workout or anything. And you mail them this book, you give it to them strategically at the right time. That's caring. And if they actually call you when they get to that page, they're going to wonder when the next Easter egg is hidden, and they're going to want to find that as well.
13 days later, maybe.
13 days later. 13 days later. So back to your answer, like, what are some of the qualifying questions? Like, do they pack their kids' lunch? Have you done something like this before? So part of our sales process that we have within what we do is we like to find out where people are in their journey of. So did you want to pick a different franchise or idea, or do you want to keep on these 2 models? Because you just tell me who's here and I'll give whatever you want.
Let's go to service-based. A painting company. It's painting someone's houses.
Okay, very good. So let's talk about the different type of people that we deal with. So what are the different levels of people that would buy painting? So one person has level 1 person is a new homeowner.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Level 2 person is they've had a few homes. Level 3 is an investor. Level 4 would be like a homeowner that level 4 would be like a homeowner that is also an investor that is a businessman or a woman. Okay. So what I recognized is finding out where people's evolution is on what they're doing. Like in our business, we recognize that someone that reads How to Win Friends and Influence People is a level 1 learner. Level 2 is I go to my church or temple or mosque or synagogue. I think I covered everything every week, and I listen to the sermon. I leave my house, I get in my car, I go somewhere for an hour. Very different than reading a $20 book. Level 3 is I spend $300 to $400 on either therapy, landmark education. I've been to a Tony Robbins event. I've been to some event. Level 4 is someone that truly invests, got on a plane, flew somewhere, spent a couple grand to go to an event. And level 5 is someone like you and I that truly just understands the value of learning and education and will spend whatever dollar they can. So in our company, we've got levels of where people are at. So selling somebody paint and doing painting to a brand new, I just lived in an apartment, I'm in my first house, that person doesn't even have a concept of what's going on. And a first-time home buyer, man, they're really attached to that home. They're probably quite a bit into the remodel that they've got going on. It's scary for them. They don't know what's happening. Somebody that has investing and done a bunch of these before, they don't really give a crap, just paint the walls. It doesn't matter. So we've got to recognize there are different levels of conversation. We have to very quickly isolate and ask. So with you, I would ask, is getting your house painted, or is picking paint and picking a painter a new process for you? Have you done this before?
Yeah, I've done it before.
Okay, several times?
Yeah, a few times.
Okay, so you know the deal. We bring the palette, we show you the thing, we give you a price, it all works. That's very different than somebody that's going to announce. So asking the question, so Have you dealt with a painting company before?
So new scenario.
Yeah.
No, first time.
Okay, so could I give you a slight education, whether you use us or someone else, on how to really navigate the situation?
Yeah, that would be helpful.
We all get the paint from one of two places, okay? And all paint is almost the same. There is your high grade commercial, and there is some of the pretty stuff that you see at Home Depot, which all has the same base, and it's got little different colors in there, and that's how paint works. I don't know if you knew that. What we have to figure out is the type of sheen that you're looking for. And we also have to figure out timelines and different types of things. So we want to spend a little bit of time educating you and going over that. So when could we sit down and meet so we can give you like a real price and real effective way to do it? I want to be able to educate you because we have some recommendations. Like, did you know the appropriate sheen in the bath? There's a different sheen that you need in the bathroom and the kitchen versus your kids' room. Do you have children?
Yeah, I didn't know that, and I've got 3 kids.
Okay. Do you believe that they're going to have fingerprints?
100%. I see them all over the place.
I'm going to mark down, we have certain paint that does better with fingerprints. Would you like me to mark that down?
Yeah, please.
I just became valuable to you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, are they selling like that currently?
Probably not like that.
Okay. How long did that take me to do?
60 seconds.
Okay. Being able to isolate, do you have children? So let's just say no.
No.
Okay. So you don't have to worry about fingerprints. Dog?
Yes.
Okay. So we need to make certain that we have the appropriate paint. Obviously, you love your dog, right?
Yeah, for sure. No
we
cats.
Have to pick, and most companies don't do this. We have to pick the paint that is most appropriate for an animal being in the house.
Okay. I didn't even know that was a thing.
It actually is a thing. And we need to make certain that. Yeah.
I don't even know if I believe you right now.
Okay. But my question is, are there paints that are probably less appropriate in a way that we could do the painting that is worse off for an animal, airing the house out, whatever it is?
Yeah.
What I'm getting at is I want to isolate certain things. Now,
Yeah.
I don't know enough about this,
Yeah.
but what I'm saying is I get the concept. The other thing you might want to ask for painting is, are you very specific on the colors that you want?
I'm horrible with colors. I don't know. I know if I know that it looks good to somebody that has an eye for it, I know what I would like out of that.
Okay, so would you like me to send over Jean? Jean works with us. Jean is the closest
a guy or
thing.
girl? Jean,
it is a girl.
Okay.
And Jean is appropriately probably the best color coordinator and probably almost like an interior decorator that we have. So we're gonna throw that in as part of the package. Do you mind if I send them over?
That'd be great.
Most great painters. I've had a painter that didn't speak English that knew great colors. No, not this, no me gusto. You know what I'm saying? They were telling me like what not to go with. And they were some of the most helpful. Manny, this guy was phenomenal to work with. I paid a premium to him. And then the other thing is when you get there, just let them know, like if all you're looking for is price, there's some great options out there. But I'll apologize once for price, but I'll never apologize for quality, and we'll make certain to get the job done right. So are we about price or are we about quality and effectiveness? I mean, I just need to know, like, I care about your floors. I care about your children, your dog. I just want to know, like, price is relative to effectiveness. Because I'm going to tell you, I had a story in my own life that, like, and everyone needs a story like this, a nightmare story. I hired a painter and we
pause there. You're talking the salesperson.
Yep.
The person out there estimating needs a story like what you're about ready to share.
Yeah. The estimator, and that's a great way to put it, needs, like, I found Manny because I used Raul, and Raul came in and I had my builder, my contractor beat up, like the paint was not important to me. Right. So like we beat up the contractors and we had fun with it and we're joking around getting the price and got the guy down to like 13 grand to do my house, right? Years ago. And he was $5,000 or $6,000 lower than anyone else that we went with. And we got a $13,000 job that cost me $15,000 later to fix because he had to cut corners.
Mm-hmm.
There's only so much you can cut out of the price before you cut out quality. So how much is a redo worth? And we want to eliminate that up front. So I just want to tell you, we are not the cheapest date in town, but we are absolutely the ones that care the most about your house.
Perfect.
So I just told you those cheap people don't care about your house.
Yep. What else did you tell me? What else did you tell us that we may not have caught?
Okay. What else did I do?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You want all the sneaky stuff.
The sneaky stuff.
Not sneaky. It's more influential stuff. I basically let you know that I care. I let you know which is the truth, because don't do this if you don't care.
Yeah.
You know, I'll let you know that I care. I let you know that it's necessary. I let you know that there are other type of people, you have other options. I also gave you two. Like I would say, like, if all you're looking for is price, I may not be your guy. But if you're looking for a really good price and quality work, I'll apologize for my price in advance. I'm not the cheapest, but I will make certain that I care about your floors. So now I'm letting you know, wait, cheap could mess up my floors, and these are nice floors. I see what you,
Mhm.
and you know what? Your floor guy should have told you to paint first. And it's upsetting they didn't. We'll do a good job, but we should not be doing this afterwards.
Do you get into that a little bit more? Because that's important. I mean, that goes in that education piece. Like you're giving them education that they may not have realized, or like you didn't realize, some of the mistakes that were made, but I am going to protect you moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, if we even went back to the food getting delivered to somebody's house, and we'd basically say in advance, I want to protect you from you, because frustration is one of the biggest reasons people fail on a diet. And one of the areas people get frustrated is 1 in 5 or 6 of the meals that we send you, you will not eat. And you're going to think that you wasted money. You didn't. You cared about you and bought this. I want to warn you in advance. Let's get the frustration out front. You're going to waste $11 every once in a while, or $18 on a meal. But more importantly, it's there if you need it. And you can eat it as a snack later in the night, or give it to a friend and get them involved. Because we find that people that do this with a friend get more out of this. So, by the way, do you know anybody? Now I parlay it into a referral.
Let's go into that more, referrals, because I'm horrible at asking for referrals. And I'm starting to realize that more and more, like people that help other people buy franchises are doing a horrible job to people out there. I give more truth to anybody that's wanting to buy a franchise out there. And so I'm getting better at asking to help their friends and their family. But, I'm probably like a lot of people. I don't want to be seen as a salesperson, because I'm not, but I want to be able to help people. So how does all that relate to referrals?
You got to remember, sales comes from the Norse word sale, which means to serve. So you got to realize you do want to be a salesperson. You want to serve people. You've been misconstrued over the years what that word actually means. So give me a referral scenario.
Well, let's go into a gym membership, or weight loss, or any of those. So you pick which one. Which one do you want to do, gym or weight loss? Or
let's do organon. What else?
Let's go into the beauty space.
Nice, beauty space. Okay, great. So what are we doing for somebody?
We are just their hair. Just a normal like hairstylist.
Okay, so the stylist has knives, shears, bleach, products over somebody's melon. They have some level of like control at that moment of creating an ask for that person. And you have to train people how to actually ask for a referral, because if you're uncomfortable with it, they're uncomfortable with it too. But I will tell you, just in context, that 1 in 10 referrals are going to be a monster referral for you, meaning like 1 in 10 people you work with is going to be an incredible resource for you. So you need about 10 to get one that's going to fill your business in a big way. So I don't know if we need to ask, we need to suggest. And we need to suggest and let people know the holidays are coming up this time of year. If you did know anybody, if anybody does like your hair, don't keep me a secret. I do have a few spots open here and there. What if you can send them for a stylist, because they do a lot of stuff through their cell phone?
Everything.
So what you want to say is, I'm going to give you my cell phone number. You can give them VIP access directly to me so they don't have to call the salon. Now somebody comments on Julie's hair. Julie says, oh my gosh, Eric is the best at doing hair. He's brand new. He's in from Paris. Do you know what I'm saying? He's absolutely incredible. If you're interested, I can give you his number. Okay. The benefit is we want to position and let them know how to actually do it. So you can say, feel free to just send me a text. Can I give you my number? And you also can book me anytime that you want with that number as well. I know we want to book through the salon. It makes it easier. But for the stylist standpoint, you want them using that as well. I know a lot of times the industry is like, oh my gosh, we don't want to do that, because then they're going to take the business and run and leave the book. If they're going to take the book of business, they're going to leave with it anyways. They're that person. So we want to train our people to use their phones and build a relationship with the customer, to say, I'm going to send you a text at the end. Send me a text anytime that you need a haircut. The other thing is, if you really want referrals, you have to offer incredible service. So what I would do is I would, in about the next morning, if I'm a stylist, maybe you could send a message, something to the effect of just checking in how our hair came out today. Do you know what I'm saying? If I can help with anything, let me know. And just send a message. A lot of times we miss that. That's ridiculous service. Like
Hmm.
if you get a surgery, the doctor calls the next day. We did surgery on your hair. The doctor calls that night. If you break your nose and you get a nose job, something, you're going to get a phone call from that surgeon that evening, making sure you're okay. You should just check the next morning, just touching base on how the hair went out. And by the way, if you ever need an appointment or anyone you know needs an appointment, here's my cell. And that's when you can give something, ask for something. Give something, ask for something.
Let's give a little shotgun of words here. So around referrals, like give something, ask something, give something, ask something. As you were talking, I was thinking make it easy, VIP experience,
Yep.
make it exclusive, giving them access, just
Yep.
building that relationship. What else? What other things would you just throw in there when people are thinking about referrals?
Yeah, just you want to say you want to build it. You want to put a picture in somebody's head. Like I would say, Eric, you may not. I'm sure you know a lot of business owners. So if you come across somebody that says X, Y, and Z, you want to give them a words. Like so, I know Eric, you come across a lot of people. If you ever hear anybody say they want to get in better shape or feel better or lose weight, definitely just call me directly. I'll explain all of that to them so you don't have to. I'll take care of the whole thing. I'll make sure they win and I'll give you a little something for it as well.
So one of the things, if you're asking for referrals from your customers, you are painting the picture in your customer's mind, like who they should be looking for. So when they run into that person, wherever it is at the grocery store or, they're out to dinner, they're like, this is the person that Eric was thinking about. And then and then they also know what to say.
So I would do this for my business. I would say, Eric, when you're at events and masterminds and different things, if you run into anybody that runs like they're the leader in their industry, like you are with franchises, or like our friend Aaron is with the car business, with mechanics and stuff like that. Like if you ever come into anybody that is a authority and has students that learn from them, let them know I'd love to speak and I'd love to share their experience. Just like set them up. I can make their conference even better. So I'd love to meet those people.
What's interesting is I used to have this podcast for just franchise people. And then I'm around people like you who help franchise people. So then I'm bringing my friends into my franchise world like you to be able to help people. So like with that said, I think a lot of it's with the franchisors. And I know you've done work with some of the best franchisors out there. Like if a franchisor is out there and they're like, this guy, Michael, he's super interesting. Like how can they find you and what can you do for them?
I can do a lot of stuff. And from a there's a few things we do. One is I'm phenomenal at retention, meaning that I know how to keep people in the game. So when I say retention specialist is literally you influence people on the way in. And if you can keep them in for 90 days, you can keep them for 6 years. It's that 90 day to 6 month window that we lose people. So that's really, really big. We work on sales process, influence, and also mindset is an enormous thing of keeping the mind correct of the franchise. Because there's an entire franchise where I've worked with probably 200 of the franchisees that I do this in direct sales companies as well also, where I am their, I don't want to say therapist, but I deal with their crap and I deal with their challenge. I deal with their take action, get things done. So I help them become more effective as people so they can facilitate and take care of the contract. You know what I'm saying? That's the big thing. I mean, that's my big win for everybody is that I can make your people better so they're easier to work with. Because you got a guy that's never done business. I can get him in the mindset of a business owner and think like one so you can get your fees, so you can get your, so they can hit their numbers, so everybody wins. So that's how we work. You can always reach out to our company. I mean, give us a call at 866-241-5111. I've got a few things I can give you as well. 866-241-5111. You can check me out at michaelbernoff.com. The process that I'd want to give every one of you is on persuasionenhancement.com. I have a really cool video. It's called my 4-step process. That's what I did with you guys when you're here in town. It's a video laying out a process that I've taught people that has equated to probably $100 million in sales for companies over the years. You can borrow it, use it, adapt it. I can help you activate it. But if you want to use it and give it a shot yourself, use it. You will be blown away how effective that process is.
That's an absolute no-brainer. What's that website again?
It's persuasionenhancement.com.
So guys, go check that out. You mentioned something around retention.
Yep.
We are on the top of the hour. Do you have
Yep.
time to go into retention, or is that for episode number 2?
I got a few minutes. Let me reach over here, check 1 second, and I'll make sure I'm not in my next.
So as he's checking, the retention is something that I'm on the inside of these franchises, and retention is a big deal. And that's something that a lot of people, they get into a franchise, especially these membership driven franchises. They buy it, they get into it. They're so worried about pre-sales, but then they don't think about retention. And if the retention is, 5 points higher than it should be, it's really hard to keep it up and to grow the business. So what are some of the things that you use to help franchisors help their franchisees keep their customers?
So what you're talking about is, how do we get people to stay in the game? Is that what you're talking about?
Correct.
Okay. So I've got a lot of techniques that I use for that. Let's take an industry for an example. Will you pick one?
What's your
I have about 5-7 minutes, so we're good.
Which one out of the 4 that we've already gone into would you
You pick and surprise me.
Let's go into a dog pet sitting business.
Okay. Are they paying monthly?
Actually, yes. I was going to say, let's not use that one, but let's do that one. And it is recurring revenue monthly.
Okay. So how much does that cost a month? Because I have no idea.
Neither do I. Let's say, $500 a month.
Wow. Okay. And these people that love their animals, obviously.
Oh my gosh. They absolutely love them.
Why would they stop?
Probably price for one thing, or just inconveniences. Something happens and they life changes and they have another pet and they have to, pay more or something.
Okay. So I'm not as familiar with this.
Let's go to a different industry. Scratch that industry.
I was about to come up with it. I was going to come up with something. Go to the other industry and I'll come back on this one. My brain works that way. Go ahead. Give me another industry.
Let's go into a gym, a normal gym, like a hit fitness.
Very good. When do most people drop off?
Probably after 3 months or after the New Year's resolution's over.
Okay. So 90 days they're out. They quit in 90 days. When did they really quit?
Probably 60.
Okay. So may I ask my question? If I were to walk into a gym and I said, hey, can you produce to me your retention process? What would they say?
It is creating a community for people, and we want them to feel like part of the community. And we have our teachers, our instructors that are around that are trying to build relationship with you before and after class. Okay,
very good. So that's about as far as they go. But we're not going to their house.
No.
We're not really connecting with them.
No.
So number one is we need to accept that we don't really have a retention policy, and we need to build a retention policy for these people to get them to stay in what it is we're doing. So they don't want more of what you have. They don't want more classes. They don't want more schedules. They don't want more workouts. They don't even want to come to the damn gym probably. Okay. But they want to is to feel good and to feel like they're getting somewhere. People want a reward and they want to feel like we're getting somewhere. So what we need to do is to create milestones for people, very, very basic milestones. So I would build a retention policy and say, we have built our entire results on psychological triggers to keep you in what it is that we're doing. So I'd let them know up front what we're doing. And over the course of 90 days, our outcome is that if we can get you to be effective in 30 days, we can get you for 90 and you'll have a chance to stay for 6 months. So let's go to your calendar right now and let's put in what 30 days is from now. This is our first target. We want to make certain you do this. Number 2 is asking a very important question. What are your fitness goals?
I want to lose some weight and to build some muscle.
And I ask you a question. Are you sure that's what you want? Or is that just what you say?
No, that's what I want.
Okay. So what are you going to do with that muscle?
Going to feel better, pick up bigger, stronger, feel stronger and pick up heavier things and be able to be more active outside and do a Spartan race.
Okay. So as a dad, how does being fit help you?
Can throw 2 kids over my shoulder and carry them to bed. instead of
It's
one
kind of
kid.
fun, isn't it?
It is kind of fun.
So can I put down one of your motivators is one of the reasons you're doing this is for your children?
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay. So in a couple of weeks from now, if I ask you, how's dad's shoulders getting built to carry those kids? Are you okay with me asking that?
Sure.
See what I'm doing?
Mm-hmm.
Now, when I started working out at the gym next door to me, I have this very unique gym over there. I started working out over there. The guy asked me what my reasons were, and I gave him real ones. Like I said, you know what? I'd like to get in better shape, but more importantly, I want to have some energy for my kids. I want to be able to have energy for my drive for my business. I think we have to get people off their initial answer and get into a deeper rooted thing. Having muscle and losing weight gets you to buy. You've already bought. I want to get deeper with you, and I want to really figure out what is your real goal with this new body, because in 90 days from now, you're going to have a different body. What do you want to do with it?
Want to be able to be there for my kids and be in there with them and do the activities that they do and have them, just play with them in a, know.
So if we give you workouts for energy, would that be as important as strength?
Yes.
Do you know how to notice that you have more energy?
Probably not.
How much water do you currently drink a day?
Probably a quarter of a gallon.
Do you really know that for a fact, or?
No.
So one of the things I'm going to do is send you home with a water bottle, and we're going to practice drinking more water than you're used to drinking. The reason is everyone and their mother knows if you drink more water, you're going to get healthier. Everybody knows that. Now they're getting healthier at home, and you're bringing the gym home with them. So you're sending them home with the water bottle. So I'm going to give you this, but I want to give you this water bottle on purpose. And this is one of ours. But I want to give you this. Now, this is retention move. It's actually by Designs for Health. But I'm going to give you this water bottle on purpose because I want to send you home with this. Because part of the job, we will do our job here, but I'm going to ask you to do your job at home. Are you okay with that? And you don't have to do much. I just need you to drink 4 waters a day. And will you text me after you did that or fill it out online? I'm just saying, I'm making stuff up, but we've got to find ancillary ways for them to get wins. That's what I would build into the culture. So your culture has to be something where they feel like they're winning. The other thing is getting them involved by taking their picture while they're working out and putting it on the page. Hey, do you mind being part of our community? And putting it on the fan page. Now they're on the fan page for the gym. They can't quit.
Yeah.
And then what about getting a 2-week testimonial from them, what it's like the first 2 weeks at the gym, and get one from 6 weeks and get them to say it out loud, what's been happening. Now they're committing verbally to another human being.
I love it.
So you got to remember the greatest retention program in the world is AA. They don't work all the time, but people that succeed, why does AA work? If you haven't studied Bill W. with AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, is there's a sponsor, there's pins, there's tokens, and you're working on it every day. So by following that model and understanding that we need to get them to the next step. So what's the next step for this person? See, the problem with working out is it's freaking forever. It is like cold calling. It doesn't end. It's painful. Forever is painful. 30 days, 60 days. The first 90 days is what we call the energy phase. We want to get you the energy you need so your body works right to actually work out. So all we're doing with this HIT program is for the next 90 days is to get your energy up. You're going to see people better than you. And you know why most people fail?
Why?
Frustration and disappointment that they're not getting the results they want. So why don't we do this? I'm going to let you know in advance there's going to be people in better shape, faster, more effective than you in that gym over there. You want to know that? You want to know why? They've been doing this longer than you. So my job is to keep you here. And in 90 days from now, you've got more energy that we can do the workout well. So our first goal for 90 days is energy. The next 90 days is strength. And the next 90 days after that is sculpting your body.
So going deeper and deeper into the stuff to take their mind off of what they think the win is to what the win actually is one of the keys, right?
Yeah. So
and it puts you in a position of authority.
Yep. You argue with your kids this week?
Yeah. My 5-year-old.
Okay. I mean, my daughter the other night said to us, we said, hey, move away from the tree a little. She says, maybe you need to get your eyes checked. You're not that close. I'm like, I had to commend her on, that's my kid. I'm like, that's a great line, right? And so if I judged my parenting on one disagreement, I would consider myself a horrible parent. But part of parenting is learning. So you're reframing their expectation. Most people, the reason they fail, so you and I know, is expectations. Expectations minus reality equals disappointment.
You just mentioned another keyword, reframing. You and I know that very well. Explain that to the audience as kind of a one last little bit of wisdom.
Reframing is taking something you think you knew and framing it as something else. It's putting a frame around it. This is an Expo marker, but I put a frame around it that's gold and I could sell it for more, right? Mm-hmm. Frame is changing what the frame is. So what I would say is most people come here to work out. We come here to respect ourselves. The second you walk in that door, you don't even need to work out. You've already told your body that it matters. I just reframed the gym.
Yep. What they thought it was to what it actually is.
You do that enough times, they start sharing that outwardly. Oh my God, you got to check out this gym. It's really just about respecting yourself and having more energy. It's incredible. And you know what? They don't even care if you're great at it.
How often do you reframe things in a daily basis in conversation?
With myself or other people?
Both.
a few thousand times a day. I live in
No,
reframe.
Seriously. I mean, like you probably reframe more than anybody that I know, and it's completely natural.
I got called the Sultan of Synapse. That I changed the synapses in people's brains by reframing. It's one of my favorite things to do is to reframe the way people look at things. So my team sent me a message. I wanted to give you guys. You got the persuasion enhancement set I wanted to give you. Also, from a momentum standpoint, if you're interested in creating momentum, is that something that they're interested in, creating momentum in life and business?
They should be, because that is something that is extremely important and probably very misunderstood or not even known in the franchise world.
Okay, because I wasn't going to bring this up because we were talking about sales, but momentum in life and in business is everything. It's like what makes Apple, Apple, Tesla. I have a program, and you go watch this yourself in advance, but I have a little something. If you text the word momentum to this number, I have a training that's like 30 minutes. There's nothing to buy at the end or do or anything. It's literally my gift to you. Send it to 480-800-8051. I'll do it one more time. You just get out your phone, not this kind of phone. You'll need an iPhone, but it's 480-800-8051. Text the word momentum, and I'm going to give you this momentum program that I have. It's like an average accelerator. It increases the momentum in what you do by focusing not on what you need to do, not focusing on what you do, but getting your mind to start focusing on what you need to be doing to start building momentum and growth. It's something that every one of you can teach your people, use yourself, use that, enjoy it, get a hold of us from there. But yeah, that's absolutely a huge no-brainer. And I find that momentum is the key to a franchisee's success. And a franchisor has to get momentum in the first 90 days for their franchisee, because if they don't see a win in 90 days, either it's a wife, it's a husband, it's kids, it's the other voice gets in, and you're FUKED. You guys can fill in the middle letters. It's a problem. It's going to be an issue. So, any last thoughts?
Man, thanks for coming on. I mean, I think people are going to listen to this, and they are going to have takeaways, and they're actionable takeaways, and they're probably it's going to be in the filter of what they can actually do. Go back and listen to this again and maybe see twice. What you can, twice, and listen to it. Have your team members come in and listen to this. Have your managers come in. Have anybody that's customer facing come listen to this and listen to their feedback on it. Get their feedback and then start having some actual changes in your business. You got 2 free resources from Michael, and go check his stuff out. Michael, any last thoughts?
That's it. Congratulations, being a business owner at any level, owning a franchise, purchasing a franchise, offering franchises. I salute you. I mean, the world is dominated by people that live an average life. The second you chose to be a business owner around business owners, you stepped out of the average. You're starting to do huge things, and I just commend you and just be more of you and accept the power of your own influence in your life. Is the last thing I'll say is, like, people are looking up to you to succeed. Be the example they need. The world needs more examples. Be one of them.
Thanks for coming on.
Thanks, my man. Appreciate it.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Franchise Secrets Podcast. Whether you're watching or listening, please make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel and to whatever channel you're listening on. If you want my help with anything from buying a franchise to franchising your business, please visit franchisesecrets.com.